What's in the case?
Vincent! We happy?
Yeah, we happy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome back to the What's in the Briefcase podcast. I'm Jacob.
I'm Joseph.
I'm Kevin.
And today we are talking about the movie Parasite. And a little synopsis. The rich Park family is infiltrated by the lower class Kim family, one by one, taking jobs from others, and things spiral out of control. So what were your guys' first impressions about the movie?
Wait, so you just read that off of like a website you just had on like
It was
you had on
Wikipedia.
tab?
It was
No, I wrote it.
Wikipedia, wasn't it?
You just had the site ready just to read the synopsis.
Well, I wrote it before I did the podcast.
Okay. Well, regarding the film, I think it was pretty okay. You know, I'm gonna be honest. It was like, I think I saw a rating for it online. It was 8 out of 10, and I feel like that's about right. It was pretty good. It didn't like completely like whoa. Kind of because I knew there was going to be a twist. So that moment where they find the bunker and then they find like that guy underground, like I kind of knew something was going to happen.
Yeah.
So that didn't completely. I thought it was a really cool. I like how they made these characters that were doing completely despicable actions, but I think they made them pretty sympathetic by showing the abject poverty they were in, right? And the completely unfair situation they were thrust into. So it makes it easier. I think they achieved in making characters doing despicable actions, but having an audience being sympathetic to them.
Yeah, right. They were definitely portrayed as human rather than just like people taking jobs from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Joseph, what did you think?
Well, like when I first saw it, I had no idea what it was about. Because like I work in a movie theater, so all I kept hearing, like, I just kept seeing this movie Parasite come on, like, what is this? All I knew was that it was a Korean film, and then a few weeks later, I watched the Oscars. It wins everything. I'm like, oh, Parasite, Best Picture, Parasite, Best Director. I'm like, what is so special about this movie? What makes it so great? Usually, I don't watch movies where I have to read subtitles. I don't like reading subtitles while watching a movie. I'm just that lazy. I just don't do it. But it's like, since it's won all this shit, might as well watch it. And I was like, what? Like that, I did not see that twist coming, having a man living in the basement. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
It was
that came out of nowhere. And I don't like one thing that kind of got me a little bit upset was when the old caretaker tries to call the other family criminals and ingrates when she had her whole husband living in someone's basement for 4 years without anyone's consent or knowing of it. How is what they did more criminal than what she did?
Well, to be fair, what the Kim family did was they were like actively stealing jobs, and they even poisoned her with like the peach fuzz and stuff, right?
Yeah.
True. But let's be honest. If I was in that sort of situation that they were in, I would probably do the same thing. Not as extreme.
No, yeah,
I would probably do the same thing. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I would probably do the same thing. Like,
yeah, like I feel like the best way the best scene for me in making them a sympathetic cast of characters was the scene where their house is flooding with sewage water, right?
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah, and they're cutting to the Parks, who are nice and cozy in their house, and they're shielded from the rain, and they're perfectly safe. They're not getting wet. And then you cut to this girl who's sitting on a toilet that's spewing out crap, and she's just smoking a cigarette. And it's like that picture of the dog surrounded with a house on fire saying, like, this is fine. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No. That's the thing, that the flooding scene was a huge turning point for Mr. Kim, like his character, because it's like because at the end of the movie he kills the man of the Park household. But the flooding and the events that but the events that happened that night all led up to that, because first of all, he was fine in staying in the people's house, even though they really shouldn't have been. They're being greedy. They were flying a little
too
a little
close to
bit
the sun
greedy.
there.
But I knew they were gonna get punished in some kind of way, but I wasn't expecting the old nanny to come back. I thought she was gonna get something simple out of the basement. Turns out it's a whole man's living in the basement. They almost
Crazy
get black.
psycho.
They almost get outed by some psychos. And then they get rid of this. They keep the psychos in the basement, and then have to listen to the couple talk about them while they're hiding under their their coffee table. Oh yeah,
While they're
Mr.
fucking.
Kim smells weird. It's while he's just laying on the floor sniffing.
Yeah. That's something about Mr. Kim I find really interesting, is how his pride is continuously wounded throughout the film. And the first time I really noticed it was when his wife said, he's like a cockroach. If they came in right now, he'd be scurrying away like a cockroach. And that was the first time. And then he grabs her, right? And then he's pretending he's about to punch her, right? He knocks over a bunch of dishes and stuff. And then the second time was when they keep commenting on his smell, and he keeps smelling his shirt and stuff. And you can see it's starting to get to him. And then the final straw was when the guy says, give me the keys, and then he's like, ugh, and it's and then Mr. Kim's like, okay, that's enough, stabs him in the heart.
But to be honest, when she called him a cockroach, that was kind of true, because immediately after he kills Mr. Park, he runs down the stairs.
Oh my God, you're right.
And then into the garage, into the house, and down the basement. So
I didn't think of that. Oh my God, you're right. And then he is like a cockroach because he's stealing food. He's hiding in the basement.
Kind of like a parasite.
Like a parasite. That's something I wanted to talk about, is who is the real parasite, right? Because going into the film, you assume it's just meant to be the Kim family in general, because they're kind of frauding this family, this Park family, and they're stealing jobs and doing stuff like that. Yeah. And then you meet the homeless crazy man who's living in the basement, and you're like, oh, he's the parasite. It was all a big trick. But then even he has more respect than the Kim family does, because he respects Mr. Park, and he always does the thing with the sensor lights.
True. Yeah. I wouldn't say he respects him. He shows him in high respect, but come on, what kind of person do you have to be to live in someone's basement without their knowing consent?
I think the guy's a bit nutty.
I'm just saying, look, what Mr. Kim and his family did, it was wrong, but to be honest, they were technically the first two times, when the son got the job. He got the job legitly. He got the job.
I agree. Legitly. I don't think he was being a parasite.
And same thing with the daughter. Same thing with the daughter. And also, they were doing their jobs pretty well, even though the daughter had to make up some art therapy
thing.
When she was doing the job she was getting paid for.
But
it's not like they weren't working for it.
Is when you actually look back at it, you realize it was actually the kid was expressing his trauma. Because that picture he drew of himself looked like that shot of Mr. Whatever coming from up the stairs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jacob, do you have any comments? You've been quiet for a while.
Yeah, well, I just want to let you guys talk. But I thought the rich people, the Parks, I thought they could also be the parasites, because Mr. Park, bless you.
Can't drive his own car.
So Mr. Park, he works for a big tech company. And that could be seen as being a parasite too, because a lot of those companies might use slave labor or things like that, or poor people,
really low-paying jobs.
Yeah, well, they're using poor people for their financial gain.
Yeah, you can interpret that the higher class is really the parasite on the lower class, but I feel like with this movie, the movie's really not about the Parks. I feel like.
No, it's definitely about the Kims. I think it's a good point to bring
I know,
up.
yeah, it's another way to look at it.
Yeah.
At the title.
Also, if you want to call Mr. Park Parasite, you could also call his wife a parasite. Because she has a a housekeeper, and like, what is she doing all day? Like, what is she doing all day? What is she doing
You're
all
actually
day?
right.
Miss Park does, like, the only time we ever see Miss Park is, like, she's sitting down at a table talking to, the son, who's called Kevin, or talking to one of the family members.
Can we talk about that?
Like, he's talking, or she's like eating something, or she's like she's near one of
The first time
her
we
husband.
see her, she's taking a nap outside,
Exactly.
and the housemate comes and claps her awake.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think you have a point there. In a sense, she's not really doing anything. So I guess you could argue that she's the parasite. And I mean, I find that also just a little unrelated. I find it interesting, the conversation they were having when they were all the Kims were drinking in the Park's home, and they're all getting drunk, and they say, "Oh, she's so nice," and then the Kims, their mom says, "I'd be nice too if I had all this. It's easy to be nice when you're rich."
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, they kind of have a point, right? Like, if you have no problems, it's easy to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, another thing in the film, if you after you watch it the first time, the second time you watch it, there's a scene where Mr. Park comes home with like a bunch of gifts, and he goes up to approach the gifts, and Mr. Kim is standing like right there next to him. He sniffs him. He's like, gets up and walks over, smells the housekeeper, which is Mr. Kim.
Yeah, they smell the same.
Like, they smell the same. Jessica smells the same too, which is Mr. Kim's daughter. Like, it's like, oh yeah, so that's him foreshadowing the ending of this movie, because that's how the final act of the movie starts, by Mr. Parks like holding his nose while trying to get the keys from the psycho basement man.
Yeah. I also. Sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I didn't really have anything smart.
No, no, I just wanted to bring up the fact that Das Song is infatuated with Native Americans, because we came and we took their land, and we're sort of.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought that was
No, you're absolutely right. That's probably relevant, because I mean, that's absolutely a case of not good thing, stealing and stuff. So
yeah, okay. Wow.
The entire setting was so it's like when they enter the house, it's like going down the rabbit hole. It's like going into another world. They have all these trees, so they can't even see the surrounding neighborhood. They have this big yard, and it's like completely separated from the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like opening Pandora's box, because then they get more greedy, and they get more greedy every time a new member of the family gets a new job.
It's a really sad story to me, though.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
Yeah, because at the end of the movie, the daughter just like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't think she was gonna die. I'm like, what the fuck?
And then our Kevin, lovely Kevin, has whatever condition Arthur Fleck had in Joker, right? Can't stop laughing. And their dad's like a basement man now. He's like he's Batman, except without the money or resources, living in someone else's house.
Yeah. But the daughter in that movie was like so confident in every situation. It was like,
yeah,
like they go up for the first art lessons. Like you get I need you to step out of the room. Like, no, but I want you get out of the room.
I never do it with the parent in the room.
No, get out of the room. I told
you.
No,
but there's one time where she's not. One time. And that's when they just, left the house after that crazy fight. After they snuck out.
That's when she totally.
And she says, like, he wouldn't be in this situation in regard to that college kid. What was his name?
Min.
Min. Yeah, Min wouldn't be in this situation, and she really lost her cool there. Honestly, I feel like all the characters are really interesting, but the mom isn't quite as explored, I feel, as the other characters.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You're not wrong. I can't say that's completely false.
Yeah.
Fine,
I also
fine.
wanted to touch on the fact that Kevin says this is so metaphorical, like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie. Like he says it when they receive the rock, and while looking at Dasong's painting, and in the driver's cafeteria, because because Mr. Kim was a driver. So, what do you guys think about him saying that, and also
Wait, what did he say?
he said? This is so metaphorical.
Oh.
And also, like, what do you guys think about what the rock represents? Because that's like a motif throughout the movie.
Yeah, the rock. I'm wondering if that's like a thing in Korean culture that we didn't quite, but I feel like Kevin, out of all of them, was kind of the guy that wished this to be okay. This is just the short-term plan. Eventually, I'm gonna not be in this horrible financial situation. I won't need to do things like this. And at the end of the movie, he's saying, I'm going to buy that house and I'm going to get rich. I'm going to buy that house and you're somehow going to be the exact same age and you're going to come out of those stairs and then we're all going to be a happy family again.
Right. Well, I also think when they were sleeping in the gym after the house flooded, Mr. Kim was saying how I have
Best
no
plan.
plan. I have no plan.
Right.
There's no need for a plan because when people have plans, things go wrong. So, and then at the end, basically, well, things did go wrong, and then Kevin made the plan to get rich and buy the house.
Wait, hold on. Technically, Mr. Kim, when he said that, he foreshadowed the ending of this movie again. Because
Yeah,
he
exactly.
said when people have a plan, and things go wrong, what are you gonna do? And immediately the next day, Mrs. Kim, Mrs. Park wakes up and says, "You know what? I'm gonna make a plan that was surprise birthday for my son. And have the housekeeper get these tables, set them out, call Mr. Kim, make him drive her everywhere. Like she can't drive. Like, come on, seriously." And then
that's funny. Also, it's like, what? You can't drive yourself? Oh, jeez.
Exactly. Like, okay, wait, you can't drive you can't drive yourself to work. Like, wouldn't you like to drive yourself to work? And not have to wait for someone else to drive you?
Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah. Also, we were talking about confidence before. How Ki Jung or Jessica didn't have confidence in that moment when they said Min wouldn't be in the situation. But I think it's also important in the beginning of the film. There was a guy like peeing on their property, and none of them would go out. And then Min
They didn't do anything.
They didn't do anything, and then Min steps up and he's like, "Get out of here!" He's like, he basically made the guy go away. And then after they all got the jobs, they were more confident, and they went out and told the next guy that was peeing on their property to leave. Like, I think it speaks to what money does. Money solves a lot of problems for you.
But it's not. But it doesn't solve everything because that went wrong so bad.
Didn't help the Parks.
Yeah, it didn't help them. Yeah, exactly. That's why also like wealth isn't black or white, and there's no shortcuts to wealth. I think is the main
Here's
message.
something interesting. When Mr. Kim was saying to Mr. Park, like, "Oh, but you love your wife, right?" And Mr. Park was like, "Sure, yeah, probably. Let's call it that." And then at the end of the film, when they're like preparing to do like the Native American like thing.
Jump out of bushes attack, right?
What?
Where Mr. Kim and Mr. Park were behind the bushes.
Yeah, behind the bushes.
Native American headgear.
Yeah, and then he's saying you like doing surprises for your wife and stuff, right? And then Mr. Kim was sort of in this, he was a bit like if that makes any sense. I can't quite find the word for it. He was a bit zonked out that entire day. But he was saying, "Oh, you like doing surprises for your wife and stuff." And then Mr. Park says, "Listen, this is just part of your job. We're paying you overtime, okay? Just do it." And I feel like Mr. Kim felt like Mr. Park just did not appreciate what he had because he had a healthy, loving relationship with his wife. He had the money to afford to throw his wife and his son surprise parties and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Mr. Kim, and then before Mr. Kim stabs Mr. Park, he sees his son bleeding from the head and his daughter's bleeding on the floor. And then his boss says, "Give me the keys. We don't have time for an ambulance. I need to drive the heck out of here." And it's like, my daughter's dying in front of you. And I think that's what made him really snap. Like this person, I think that's what really.
No. It was a combination of everything that happened the night before and what happened that day. It's like, okay, like I had to deal with a crazy man in the basement and his wife. I had to sneak out of a rich person's house. My house was flooded. I had to sleep in on a gym floor.
And I don't think these people showered.
Drive you somewhere.
I don't think these people ever had a chance to bathe, right? I think that's why he was going ooh at the end of the film, because he's covered in sewage water.
Yeah.
Well, technically, if they smelled, not like I don't think that was it. I think the point was that because like if you remember when there's the point.
No, I know they were talking about the smell before.
Because they were talking about like Mr. and Mrs. Park were talking. We're sitting on the couch talking about Mr. Kim's smell in the back of the car, and then when the next day when she can actually smell and she actually covers her nose for a second and actually rolls down the window, and he looks at from the rearview mirror and his face just gets sadder.
Yeah, but I think in this case, his smell is worse because he was just, trying to grab. What was the one thing? They all grabbed one thing. Kevin grabbed the rock. Mr. Kim grabbed, what was it, a medal?
Yeah, a medal they had.
And just
was that like for his army service?
I'm not sure.
Probably so, because in South Korea, if I'm not wrong,
you have to.
Every citizen has to serve in the military for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
So Mr. Kim grabbed the medal, and then the daughter grabbed the cigarettes. And I think that's representative of how they feel. Maybe the medal was Mr. Kim trying to hang on to his pride. The rock maybe was Kevin trying to hang on to his sense of fate. And the cigarettes was the girl hanging on to her sense of cool. And maybe that's what was getting them through this horrible situation. I feel like Kevin had some sense of destiny. I think he felt like destiny was a thing. I feel like Kevin's actually kind of hard to figure out a bit, but I feel like that's with him. And like he said, this is so metaphorical.
Right. I was just about to mention that. Like he says that throughout the movie, and he thinks that's something great's going to happen. And they did get jobs, but not in the right way.
True.
Yeah, and the daughter just needed to keep her cool, and she could get through anything almost. You know what I mean?
Well, I think she grabbed the cigarettes to just cope with what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like that's how she detaches herself from the situation she's in.
Yeah.
And then the dad got the pride because that was the last thing he had, but even that ran out, and that's why, when he stabbed Mr. Park, I like how, this was kind of a messed up thing for me to laugh at, but like the entire family just looks at him, right? And they're like, wait, why did you do that? Well, yeah, they kind of have this look like, wait, what?
And
what?
then
She looks at him, he's like, what?
Yeah, even on the news, they were saying, oh, Mr. Kim and Mr. Park had a good relationship.
And then he's in the basement crying, saying, I'm so sorry, Mr. Park.
Yeah.
Also, one thing, I don't think we can talk about this movie without talking about the performances from each and every one of the actors.
Oh, they were fantastic.
Yeah, really good.
Actually, I found out that actually the director Bong Joon-Ho actually performed many of the actions that the actors did themselves. He actually led by example. So many of the for a good chunk, for a good majority of the things that the actors do, the director did it himself to show them how it should be done, and which I think is pretty cool. And
Yeah.
I think, and another thing is the scene where the setting where everything starts flooding. They literally had to build that. They had to build that whole thing inside a water tank.
Oh my
Just
God,
enough,
you're right. They must have.
enough water to flow into the scene, and flow the way it did.
Now I'm thirsty.
um,
It's a hot day. No, but you're right. It's oh wow, and that kid must be so messed up now, right?
who, Kevin?
No, the little kid, Days.
That
I can't.
song. The song.
Yeah, that song. That was it. Because he just saw like Jessica get stabbed in front of him, and while he was unconscious, his dad got stabbed, and like this entire time he'd been seeing the Morse code,
Yeah, yeah. Also, I didn't realize this is the second time I watched the movie, but the first time I didn't notice that like the kid that song, he passed out while he was eating the cake, the icing on the cake, and then he saw the guy in the basement and he passed out. And then later in the film, I didn't realize, like I didn't think about like how it happened earlier in the film, where in the end he saw the guy again and he passed out while they were about to bring out the cake.
Oh my God.
Like there's so many, like it's all in the circle. It's crazy.
This kid can never eat cake on his birthday again.
Yeah, well,
it summons him.
That's why.
Oh yeah, that makes it worse. His dad died on his birthday.
Yeah, really.
Respect.
Oh yeah.
That guy was so wacky. That was such a weird performance, because like as soon as you meet the guy and you just see her feeding him, I don't know what it was, baby formula or something, and eating a banana, you're like, oh, this guy's a little. What am I looking at? Is this? I thought it was like going to be her like kid or something. Actually,
yeah. Actually, when I saw a video that's like they said they're saying that like the difference between the crazy guy and the Kims is that like, because like even though they live underground, they still have that window,
right?
And so that means they can still see they have that little window where they can still see sunlight and they can still see the surface, symbolizing that also one day they could actually maybe one day they could actually get up to the surface and stop living underground.
But the
guy, he has no window, so like he sees no escape. He only sees those the walls surrounding him. He doesn't have a window of hope.
That's a really good point, because lots of people live underground.
Like, who do you know lives underground? Like what?
Well, I guess in South Korea they have a lot of underground homes.
True. See, when I heard underground, I was thinking more like bunkers. I wasn't thinking like that. I just.
Well, their house is underground. The Kim's house there.
Yeah, and in the Park's house there is a bunker. Like the basement is pretty much a bunker.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a basement, then they have a bunker.
Yeah.
Why didn't any of them get the pizza job? It seems a lot
kept
less
messing
stressful.
up the boxes.
Yeah. Also, I want to talk about why Kevin specifically he aspired to be like Min so much. Like he took the rock that Min gave him and he was like, oh, this is so metaphorical. Like he
I think
that rock.
I think Min's everything he wants to be. Min gets to go to college.
Actually,
Min gets to have this girl.
Yeah, well, Kevin was dating her like Min wanted to do, which is interesting also.
He actually quoted Min. He's like, when she enters university, I'm officially asking her to date me.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote that down in my notes because it was like the same exact line.
I use my memory. I don't read notes.
I really think he just wants to be Min. He wishes he could have Min's life. I really think that's it. Because Min has opportunity and he has a fair shot. And honestly, Kevin doesn't.
Yeah, well, I think Min is sort of the bridge between the rich and the poor because he respects
The Kims.
the Kims. Yeah, he respects the Kims, but he's also like the Parks.
Yeah, you're right.
He's like the middle ground, like not too hot, not too cold, but just right.
You know, there's
Yeah.
something funny that Min says. Is he says about Mrs. Park, he says, she's kind of simple. I had a lot of fun with her. What do you think that meant?
Well, I think he said she's like fun, like she's a fun person, but she's
Okay.
a simple person.
Like,
There's nothing sinister. Because I saw this, and I knew there was a twist in this film. So when
Well,
I
you're
saw that
thinking
line, I'm like, oh, God, Mim's having sex with Miss Park. That obviously wasn't it.
no, like, see, I didn't think that because like when after like I guess I see how you think that at first, but after you meet Mrs. Park,
No, she's just nice.
like it's kind of like no, I don't see how she would be able to do that. Like her
She
mental
loves her
capacity doesn't seem like she can think that far. Like again, like she's smart, like she's simple, like she knows things, but like she's so gullible and naive. I'm like you know, like I don't see because like to be honest, none of them either. Like same thing with her husband. Like so they didn't find it a little bit they didn't find it suspicious that they asked they asked their driver their previous driver to take their new art teacher who was recommended by Kevin. They offered to take her home told their driver to take her home, and the next day they find a woman's panties underneath the seat. No one finds that a little bit curious?
Well, they did find it curious. That's why they fired a driver.
No. But like, come on. But see, they thought it was no. But they didn't think that maybe They didn't think that maybe Jessica planted it. They just
Yeah, but that was, I mean,
weird.
think about what that would require them to expect. That would require them to expect there's like a conspiracy going on, right? With Kevin, who was recommended by Min, who they trusted, with Kevin, Min, Jessica, and whatever new driver was being recommended.
And that was their problem. They were too trusting. She even says like, I'd rather hire someone based on a recommendation. It's like it's like a.
I met you 3 days
trust.
ago. We can trust each other.
But like, build the trust. Like, hold on, you've only known Kevin like a day, and
it's because they think Kevin's this rich college graduate, right? Or yeah. They think Kevin's this high-class kid, right? That's why I think they trust him. If they knew Kevin was poor, they wouldn't have trusted him as much.
Yeah, and I also think like being you're talking about Mrs. Park being simple. I think that when I don't know if she married wealthy, we don't know her story, but when you become wealthy, you get accustomed to a certain lifestyle. And like she was like, oh, I don't know how to cook, I don't know how to clean, I don't know what I'm gonna do without a housekeeper. Like she doesn't have much life experience. Like I know how to clean. I know
really, what do you do?
Yeah,
I know how to wash dishes. Like I may not know how.
I know how to wash. I know how to do laundry. I know how to wash dishes.
I may not know how to cook a gourmet meal, but I can make me a good tuna melt sandwich.
I know how to do ramen.
Yeah.
I know how to microwave food.
Well, that's good, Kevin. Nice.
I'm very talented.
Put the food in the microwave. Press how long?
I put that on my resume. I can microwave food.
That got me a lot of jobs. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
Anyways, I think we're running low on time. Are there any closing thoughts?
No, I think that's it. I think we're good.
Great movie.
Yeah, so
Good movie. It was pretty good.
Bong Joon-Ho deserved the Oscar for Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
And any other thoughts or no?
Go watch it on Hulu.
Yes, go watch it. All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah, bye-bye.